Hey, welcome back to our Sales Made Easy podcast. So today I really want to talk about a couple things. People ask me all the time, what makes sales tough, right? Why is sales so hard sometimes? And I think part of it is the way we start out in sales, right? We start out because someone hires us and really trains us on their product or service, on how wonderful their product or service is. And we're like, we can't wait to go show it to people and show them how we can help them. We're so enthusiastic about showing them our stuff. We never really have a time to ask them about their stuff. And to me, if you look at it, what makes sales tough? Because my job here today is to make sales easy for you. What makes sales tough is there's typically two sides of the problem. There's a technical problem or a conceptual problem, right? We're going to talk about conceptually what it is you do. When you get in front of people, your job is to sell, right? But in reality, your job is really to help people become more efficient and more effective in what they're currently doing. So if you think about your intention when you start, when you're going after a meeting or going after to meet somebody, is your intention to try to sell them something, or truly is your intention to help them, right? Because if my intention is truly to help them, then if I can't find a issue that I can solve, I don't want to waste their time or my time. I'd like to get out of their hair, and they'd probably like me to get out of their hair. So what's your intention? Now, once you understand your intention and you go in with good intentions, my job is really to find out if I can help you, whether you use my product or somebody else's product, because I know long run, if I help you without even using my stuff, at some point, you're going to remember that. And when the need is right, you're going to ask me to help you. But how do we make that happen? The real way to make that happen is, number one, mindset's got to be there. What's your intention? And number two, what's got to go on in your head is when you get in front of somebody is about getting trust built, being that trusted advisor as opposed to a salesperson. And you think about a trusted advisor, it's almost like your lawyer, your financial advisor. They're pretty trusted. They got my money, or legal, and I ask them for advice. So how do you gain that stature? So in reality, you got to have rapport. So if you don't have rapport with me, if I don't trust you as of yet, and you're trying to sell me something, then you're just a slimy salesperson. But if you have rapport, and then you inquire about how you might be able to help me, then you become a trusted advisor. And you lay down the ground rules, and it's okay for you to walk away. You become a trusted advisor. So really think about that. What is your intention? And after that intention happens, as long as you got that in your head, your next thing is, how do I become a trusted advisor with this person? Which comes into a lot of human psychology, which we're going to talk about. Because truly, people have asked me all the time, what's a good sales book? And a lot of times I tell them, go to the psychology section of a bookstore and buy books on psychology. Because that's really what you got to get into, is understanding other human beings and helping them become more effective and more efficient. Now, truthfully, we've done that, and you're in front of somebody that has a problem, you have a solution, but you still can't sell them. You couldn't sell them, right? Are you a bad salesperson? Well, maybe you just need to learn some things. Number one, if the person did have a problem, did we find out if that problem is bad enough to do something about? Or is doing nothing an option? So we've got to get that far, especially if you're talking to someone who's got to go to a president of a company for a budget to be able to buy what you're selling. And you got that person that they said, yes, you can help me, and I'd really like to use your stuff. But you didn't help them come up with a plan of how to make it worthwhile, deliver an ROI for the overall of the company, then you failed. You failed them, you didn't help them, you didn't help yourself, and you didn't help your company. But the best way to think about that is, looking back and saying, okay, what should I have done different? How do you look back and say, what could I have done different? As opposed to blaming the prospect and saying, prospect is late. So how do you improve yourself? You're constantly looking back and saying, what could I have done different? Now, I want you to think about that. What is your intention when you start a sales call? Did you become a trusted advisor before you went into what's your problem? Because if you're not, you go into what's your problem when they go, I don't have any problems. And then lastly, if you really think about it, are you helping them? Do they have a big enough problem that you need to help them to develop a plan to convince themselves of their ROI? Yeah, it goes back to a funny story. As a young kid out of college, I remember getting my first job, living in my parents' house, getting my first job. And I came home, my first paycheck, about my first month paycheck, I came home with a brand new stereo system. In those days, we had stereo systems. We didn't have iPods, turntable, speakers. And of course, my dad came in the room and said, that's what you're going to do with your first paycheck? Did you really need that? Don't you have better things to buy? Because I was buying a want. Now, maybe a month later, 2 months later, got my next paycheck. I had this old beater car and I bought new tires for my car. And my dad comes home and goes, that's pretty smart. That was a good use of your money. See, when you can help people see that it's a good use of their money, they'll compliment you. But if you can't do that and it's just a want, it's very tough to explain. You never have to explain when you have an ROI. So that's my Sales Made Easy for today. Pop back in next week for another tip. But I want you to think about what's your intention when you go on a sales call.